He walks into the room and something is different. He is not scanning the crowd, not searching for someone to notice him, not positioning himself to be seen. He simply enters, takes in the space, and finds a place to stand. Within minutes, you notice something strange. People, women especially, begin drifting toward him. Not because he called them over or flashed a smile or started a conversation. Something about his stillness, his ease, his complete lack of urgency draws them in. Meanwhile, across the room, another man is working hard. He is laughing too loudly, telling stories, leaning in, trying to make eye contact. He is chasing. And the more he chases, the more people subtly pull away. They do not even realize they are doing it. They just feel the pressure and instinctively retreat. For a long time, men have been told that if they want love, they have to chase it. They have to make the first move, send the first message, constantly prove themselves, and never give up. This advice has been repeated so often that most men accept it without question. They assume that persistence is the same as devotion, that effort will eventually be rewarded, that if they just try hard enough, the person they want will eventually see their value. But here is the uncomfortable truth that most dating advice refuses to acknowledge. Chasing does not create attraction. It often destroys it. The men who seem the most confident, the ones who never seem desperate for attention, are not the ones running after it. They are the ones who have built a life that does not revolve around getting it. The difference between pursuing someone and chasing them is not just a matter of words. It is a difference in mindset, in self-worth, and in how you understand the psychology of attraction. There is a reason why the man who does not chase often becomes the one who is chased. It is not because he is playing games or pretending not to care. It is because he has tapped into something that most men never fully understand. He has learned that the most attractive quality a person can possess is not charm, not wealth, not even confidence in the traditional sense. It is the quiet certainty that comes from knowing who you are and being completely comfortable with that person. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who wrote extensively on the nature of freedom and self-mastery, argued that the only thing truly worth pursuing is the development of one's own character. Who, then, is the invincible man? He whom nothing that happens outside of his own choice can disturb. When a man stops chasing external validation and starts building internal strength, he becomes someone who cannot be easily shaken. And that unshakable quality is what draws people toward him. The psychology behind this is not complicated, but it is deeply counterintuitive. Most men believe that if they want a relationship, they have to pursue it aggressively. They think of attraction as a numbers game, that if they just approach enough women, send enough messages, and make enough effort, eventually something will stick. They have been taught that effort equals attraction, that showing up more, texting more, and proving more will close the gap. But as any psychologist will tell you, attraction does not work that way. It is not a reward for effort. It is a response to value, and value cannot be created by chasing. It can only be revealed by being. When a man is constantly chasing, he is inadvertently signaling that he does not have much going on in his own life. He is signaling that his happiness depends on her response. That kind of dependency is not attractive. It is exhausting. The woman on the receiving end of that energy does not feel flattered. She feels pressured. She feels like she has become responsible for his emotional well-being, and that is a burden no one wants to carry. This brings us to the first and most fundamental quality of men who do not chase women. They do not seek validation through relationships. Many people, men and women alike, unknowingly use relationships to prove their worth. If someone likes them, they feel valuable. If someone rejects them, they question themselves. Their self-esteem rises and falls with the attention they receive. But men who do not chase think differently. Their confidence comes from their character, their work, their goals, and the promises they keep to themselves. They appreciate affection, but they do not depend on it to feel complete. This is why rejection does not completely shake their identity. They understand that someone's lack of interest is not necessarily a reflection of their value. When your self-worth comes from within, you are far less likely to beg for someone else's attention. As psychologist and author Matthew Hussey has pointed out, redefining self-worth requires shifting from external validation to internal acceptance. The ego, which can make us feel both superior and inadequate, is misleading. A healthier approach involves building self-love from the inside out. The quiet confidence that emerges from this shift is something that other people can feel. Consider the difference between two men in a social setting. The first man enters the room and immediately begins scanning for signs of interest. He approaches women, offers compliments, and tries to make them laugh. He is not doing anything wrong, but his energy is slightly anxious. He is looking for a reaction, any sign that he is being noticed. The second man enters the same room. He does not rush. He finds a spot, orders a drink, and simply observes. He is not ignoring anyone, but he is also not searching. His presence is calm, unhurried, and self-contained. The women in the room sense the difference without even realizing it. They feel no pressure from him, no expectation, no subtle demand for their attention. And because they feel safe, they are more likely to approach him. The philosopher Albert Camus once wrote that the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that one's very existence is an act of rebellion. When a man stops seeking validation, he becomes free. And that freedom is not just attractive, it is transformative. The second quality of men who do not chase is that they value reciprocity. Healthy relationships are not built by one person doing all the work. They are built on mutual effort, shared interest, and balanced investment. Men who do not chase believe that interest should flow in both directions. If they are always initiating conversations, making plans, and carrying the emotional weight of the relationship while the other person gives very little back, they naturally step away. This is not a tactic to manipulate anyone into chasing them. It is simply a recognition that relationships require effort from both sides. They do not confuse persistence with compatibility. If someone wants to be part of your life, they will usually make it clear through their own actions. Research from the field of self-determination theory has shown that the healthiest relationships are characterized by reciprocity and mutual exchange of relatedness, autonomy, and competence need support. When one person is constantly giving while the other is constantly receiving, the dynamic becomes unbalanced. And an unbalanced dynamic is not a relationship. It is a dependency. Imagine a scenario where a man meets a woman he is interested in. He sends a message. She replies. He asks her out. She agrees. The date goes well, but after that, something shifts. He is the one always reaching out. He is the one suggesting future plans. He is the one checking in to see how her day is going. She responds, but she never initiates. She is warm when he reaches out, but she never reaches out first. The man who chases will double down. He will try harder, text more, and plan more elaborate dates. He will convince himself that if he just shows enough effort, she will eventually match it. The man who does not chase will notice the imbalance and step back. He is not punishing her. He is simply observing the reality of the situation. He understands that attraction grows much more naturally when both people choose each other. And if she is not choosing him with her actions, no amount of his effort will change that. The third quality is that they are focused on building their own life. The biggest goal for these men is not finding someone to complete them. It is becoming someone they are proud of. They invest time into their career, health, finances, hobbies, friendships, and personal growth. As a result, relationships become an addition to their life instead of its entire purpose. They are too busy creating a meaningful future to spend all day chasing uncertain attention. Ironically, this often makes them more attractive because they have a sense of direction that exists independently of romance. Their happiness is not waiting for another person to arrive. Research on solitude and self-esteem has found that adults who are comfortable spending time alone report lower sadness, fewer negative physical symptoms, and higher life satisfaction. Being comfortable with yourself is not a sign of loneliness. It is a sign of emotional maturity, and emotional maturity is deeply attractive. Consider a practical example. A man in his 30s has spent the last few years building a business. He works long hours, but he loves what he does. He also makes time for the gym, for his friends, and for his hobbies. He reads, he travels when he can, and he is constantly learning new things. He is not looking for a relationship to fill a void. He already has a full life. When he meets a woman, he is not desperate to impress her. He is simply curious about her. He wants to know if she fits into the life he has built. He is not asking her to complete him. He is asking if she wants to share the journey with him. That kind of energy is rare, And rarity, as any psychologist will tell you, is valuable. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. When a man is free from the desperate need for a relationship, he experiences a kind of clarity that others can sense. He is not looking for someone to save him. He is looking for someone to walk beside him. And that is a completely different kind of energy. The fourth quality is that they understand that attraction cannot be forced. No amount of texting, convincing, or trying harder can create genuine attraction where it does not exist. Men who do not chase accept this reality early. If someone is not interested, they respect the answer instead of treating it like a challenge to overcome. They would rather spend their energy on someone who is genuinely excited to know them than someone who constantly sends mixed signals. This saves them enormous amounts of emotional energy. They understand that the strongest relationships usually begin with mutual enthusiasm, not relentless pursuit. Sometimes walking away is actually the healthiest decision. The psychologist Dr. Brené Brown, who has spent her career studying vulnerability and shame, has written extensively on the importance of setting boundaries. Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. When a man walks away from someone who is not reciprocating his interest, he is not giving up. He is choosing himself. And that choice, far from being selfish, is an act of self-respect. Think about the emotional toll of chasing someone who is not interested. Every text that goes unanswered, every plan that gets cancelled, every excuse that does not quite add up, it all takes a toll. It creates anxiety, self-doubt, and a creeping sense of worthlessness. The man who chases is constantly trying to decode mixed signals, looking for hidden meaning in every interaction. The man who does not chase simply takes the signal at face value. If she is not showing interest, he moves on. He does not take it personally because he understands that attraction is not a reflection of his worth. It is simply a matter of compatibility. And compatibility cannot be forced. It can only be discovered. The fifth quality is that they are comfortable being alone. One of the biggest psychological differences between men who chase and men who do not is their relationship with solitude. They do not fear being alone. They enjoy spending time with friends, pursuing goals, learning new skills, or simply enjoying their own company. Because they are not desperate to avoid being single, they make better decisions about who they allow into their life. Loneliness often pushes people toward unhealthy relationships. Comfort with solitude creates the freedom to wait for healthier ones. They do not see being single as failure. They see it as an opportunity to keep growing until the right person naturally comes along. Research suggests that those who are comfortable being alone tend to appear more at ease, open, and capable of forming lasting bonds in company. In this way, loneliness transforms into chosen tranquility, inner stability, and strength. The psychiatrist and author Dr. Irvin Yalom wrote that the capacity to be alone is the capacity to love. If you cannot bear your own company, how can you expect anyone else to? Imagine a man who has just ended a relationship. The man who chases will immediately start looking for a replacement. He cannot stand the silence, the empty evenings, the absence of someone to text. He will jump into dating apps, reach out to exes, and do whatever he can to fill the void. The man who does not chase will take a different approach. He will sit with the discomfort. He will use the time to reflect on what went wrong, what he wants, and who he wants to become. He will reconnect with friends, pick up a hobby he abandoned, and focus on his own growth. He is not avoiding relationships. He is simply not desperate for one. And when he does eventually meet someone new, he will be in a much healthier place. He will not be looking for someone to rescue him from loneliness. He will be looking for someone to share his already full life with. The sixth quality is that they set boundaries early. Men who do not chase usually have a clear understanding of what they will and will not accept. If someone constantly disrespects them, plays games, disappears for weeks, or only gives attention when it is convenient, they do not endlessly tolerate the behavior. They communicate their standards, and if nothing changes, they move on. This is not about having a big ego. It is about respecting themselves enough not to repeatedly accept treatment they would not give to someone else. Strong boundaries often prevent bigger problems later. The people who value your time are usually the ones who respect your boundaries too. As Dr. Henry Cloud, a clinical psychologist and author of Boundaries, observed, boundaries are not walls. They are gates and fences that let the good in and keep the bad out. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is about creating a space where healthy relationships can grow. Consider a situation where a woman cancels plans at the last minute without a good reason. The man who chases will say it is fine, reschedule, and try to make it easier for her next time. He is afraid that if he expresses any frustration, she will lose interest. The man who does not chase will also say it is fine, but he will not go out of his way to reschedule. He will wait for her to make the next move. He is not punishing her. He is simply observing her behavior and adjusting his investment accordingly. If she is interested, she will make an effort. If she is not, he will not waste his time chasing her. This approach may seem harsh, but it is actually fair to both parties. It prevents resentment from building. It prevents one person from feeling taken for granted. And it creates a dynamic where both people are equally invested. The seventh quality is that they know that real confidence is quiet. Truly confident men rarely feel the need to prove themselves to everyone they meet. They do not chase every opportunity for attention because they are not trying to convince the world of their value. Instead, they let their actions speak for them. They understand that confidence is not loud, desperate, or constantly seeking approval. It is calm, patient, and secure. They trust that the right people will recognize their value without needing endless persuasion. The less someone depends on external validation, the more authentic their confidence becomes. As one psychologist observed, self-esteem is about being able to stand your ground without feeling like you've got something to prove every moment of the day. It is not about loud gestures or constant confidence. It is about the quiet baseline you live with when no one is watching. The man who does not chase has already done the internal work. He does not need to broadcast his strength because he knows it is there. He does not need to prove his worth because he already knows it. And that quiet certainty is what makes him stand out. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who are constantly talking about their achievements, their plans, their ambitions? Or are they the ones who simply do their work, live their lives, and let their results speak for themselves? The loudest person in the room is often the most insecure. They need attention because they do not feel valuable without it. The quietest person, the one who is comfortable in silence, is often the most confident. They do not need to prove anything because they already know who they are. The same principle applies to dating. The man who is constantly trying to impress, constantly seeking approval, constantly performing, is signaling that he does not believe he is enough. The man who is calm, present, and unhurried is signaling that he is comfortable with himself. And comfort is contagious. When you are comfortable, other people feel comfortable around you. Let us bring all of this together with a practical scenario that illustrates how these principles work in real life. Imagine a man named James. James is in his early 30s. He has a good job, but he does not define himself by it. He has hobbies he is passionate about. He reads, he runs, he is learning to play the guitar. He has a small circle of close friends he sees regularly. He is not looking for a relationship, but he is open to one. One evening, he goes to a friend's party. He does not go there to meet anyone. He goes to enjoy himself. He talks to people he knows, has a few drinks, and laughs at a few jokes. At some point, he notices a woman across the room. She is attractive, but that is not what catches his attention. What catches his attention is the way she is carrying herself. She is not performing. She is not trying to be the center of attention. She is simply present. He is curious about her, but he does not rush over. He continues his conversation, finishes his drink, and only approaches her when the moment feels natural. He introduces himself simply, without any elaborate opening line. He asks her a question about something that is happening around them. She answers, and they start talking. The conversation flows easily. James is not trying to impress her. He is not telling stories to make himself look good. He is genuinely curious about her. He listens when she speaks, asks thoughtful questions, and shares his own thoughts without any agenda. He does not compliment her appearance. He does not try to make her laugh with rehearsed jokes. He simply engages with her as a person. She notices that he is different from most men she meets. He is not trying to sell himself. He is not looking for her approval. He is simply being himself. At the end of the night, he asks for her number. She gives it to him. But here is where the difference becomes clear. He does not text her that night. He does not text her the next morning. He waits a couple of days, not because he is playing games, but because he has a life. He has things to do. When he does text her, it is simple and direct. He suggests a specific time and place for a date. He does not overthink it. He does not send a long paragraph trying to impress her. He just asks. She says yes. On the date, James is the same person he was at the party. He is present, curious, and unhurried. He does not talk about his achievements or try to prove his worth. He asks about her, listens, and shares his own perspective without needing to convince her of anything. The date goes well. They see each other again. Over time, she finds herself increasingly drawn to him. She is not sure exactly what it is. He is not the most charismatic man she has ever met. He is not the most ambitious or the most exciting. But there is something about him that feels solid. He is not desperate for her attention. He does not text her constantly. He does not get anxious when she takes a while to reply. He has his own life, his own interests, his own goals. She knows that he wants her, but she also knows that he does not need her. And that is what makes him irresistible. Now, contrast James with another man, Mark. Mark is also at the party. He is also attracted to the same woman. But Mark approaches things differently. He sees her and immediately starts strategizing. He considers what to say, how to stand, when to smile. He approaches her with a rehearsed line, something he read online. He compliments her appearance, hoping to make an impression. He tells a funny story, but he laughs a little too hard at his own joke. He leans in, too close, too fast. He is trying, and she can feel it. She is polite, but she is not engaged. She finds an excuse to end the conversation. Later that night, Mark sends her a message. She does not reply. He sends another one the next day. Still no reply. He sends a third one, trying to be funny. She finally responds with a brief, polite message. He takes that as a sign to keep trying. He suggests another date. She says she is busy. He offers a different day. She says she will let him know. Mark is confused. He thought he did everything right. He was confident. He was funny. He made his interest clear. But something went wrong. What he does not realize is that his confidence was not real. It was performance. His interest was not genuine curiosity. It was desperation disguised as charm. And she could feel it. The difference between James and Mark is not that one is more attractive or more successful. It is that James has internalized the principles we have been discussing. He does not seek validation through relationships. He values reciprocity. He is focused on building his own life. He understands that attraction cannot be forced. He is comfortable being alone. He sets boundaries early. And he knows that real confidence is quiet. These qualities did not come to him overnight. They were built over time, through experience, through reflection, through the deliberate choice to become someone he could respect. The psychologist Dr. Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps and wrote extensively about meaning, observed that between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Every time a man chooses not to chase, he is exercising that freedom. He is choosing growth over desperation, self-respect over validation, and authenticity over performance. There is a deeper layer to all of this that is worth exploring. The man who does not chase is not just following a set of rules. He is embodying a philosophy of life. He understands that the most important relationship he will ever have is the one he has with himself. If that relationship is strong, every other relationship will be stronger. If that relationship is weak, every other relationship will be weaker. He does not need a partner to complete him because he is already complete. He does not need someone to validate him because he already validates himself. He does not need someone to make him happy because he has already found happiness within. This does not mean he is cold or distant. It means he is whole. And wholeness, as any psychologist will tell you, is deeply attractive. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who wrote extensively on the nature of power and self-overcoming, observed that those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. The man who does not chase has a why. He has a purpose, a direction, a sense of meaning that exists independently of any relationship. And that purpose is what makes him resilient. It is what makes him attractive. It is what makes him free. Let us consider another practical application. You are on a dating app. You match with someone you find interesting. The conversation starts well. You exchange a few messages. But then, something shifts. She stops replying as quickly. Her messages get shorter. She says she is busy, but you see her posting on social media. The man who chases will double down. He will send another message, try to be funny, ask if everything is okay. He will try to re-engage her, to pull her back into the conversation. The man who does not chase will simply let it go. He will not take it personally. He will not send a follow-up message asking if she is still interested. He will simply move on to the next match. He understands that if she was genuinely interested, she would make the effort. And if she is not, no amount of chasing will change that. This approach saves him time, energy, and emotional distress. It also preserves his dignity. He is not waiting by the phone, hoping for a reply. He is living his life, and if someone wants to be part of it, they will show up. There is a quote often attributed to the poet Rumi that captures this perfectly. "The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was." Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. When a man is whole within himself, he is not looking for someone to complete him. He is looking for someone to share his completeness with. That is the difference between chasing and attracting. Chasing is trying to get something you do not have. Attracting is sharing what you already are. The man who does not chase has already done the work. He has built a life he is proud of. He has developed a sense of self that does not depend on anyone else's approval. He has learned to be comfortable in his own company. And when he meets someone, he is not trying to get something from her. He is simply offering to share his life with her. And that is a much more powerful invitation. Now, let us address a common concern. Some men worry that if they stop chasing, they will end up alone. They fear that if they do not pursue, no one will pursue them. This fear is understandable, but it is based on a misunderstanding of how attraction works. The man who does not chase is not passive. He is not waiting for love to fall into his lap. He is simply not pursuing people who are not pursuing him back. He is still open to connection. He still initiates conversations and makes his interest known. But he does not cling to the outcome. He does not invest more than the other person is investing. He does not chase people who are running away. And as a result, he attracts people who are genuinely interested in him. The psychologist Dr. John Gottman, who has spent decades studying relationships, found that the couples who stay together are not the ones who never have problems. They are the ones who respond to each other's bids for connection. The man who does not chase is not ignoring bids. He is simply not chasing people who are not making any bids at all. There is another dimension to this that deserves attention. The man who does not chase is often more attractive because he is less reactive. He does not panic when a woman takes a while to reply. He does not get anxious when she seems distant. He does not overthink every interaction. This emotional steadiness is deeply reassuring to women who are used to men who are volatile, needy, or unpredictable. It signals that he is not going to fall apart at the first sign of trouble. It signals that he is someone she can rely on. And reliability, as any woman will tell you, is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess. The philosopher Baruch Spinoza, who wrote extensively on the nature of human emotions, argued that the highest form of human freedom is the ability to be guided by reason rather than passion. The man who does not chase is not devoid of passion. He simply does not let his passion control him. He feels, but he does not react. He desires, but he does not cling. He wants, but he does not need. And that balance is what makes him both free and attractive. Let us return to the concept of self-worth. The man who does not chase has a deep and unshakable sense of his own value. This does not mean he thinks he is better than everyone else. It means he knows he is enough. He does not need a relationship to prove his worth because his worth is not in question. He does not need a woman's approval to feel good about himself because he already feels good about himself. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of all healthy relationships. The psychologist Dr. Nathaniel Branden, who wrote extensively on self-esteem, argued that self-esteem is the immune system of the mind. When it is strong, you can handle almost anything. When it is weak, even small setbacks can be devastating. The man who does not chase has a strong immune system. He can handle rejection without falling apart. He can handle silence without panicking. He can handle distance without chasing. And that strength is what makes him stand out. Consider the difference between two men in a long-term relationship. The first man is constantly seeking reassurance. He needs to hear that he is loved. He needs to know where the relationship is going. He is anxious about losing his partner and constantly tries to control the outcome. The second man is secure. He trusts his partner and trusts the relationship. He does not need constant validation because he already knows his worth. He is not threatened by his partner's independence because he has his own independence. He is not afraid of losing her because he knows he will be fine even if he does. Which man do you think is more attractive? Which man do you think creates a healthier dynamic? The answer is obvious. The secure man is not just more attractive. He is also more capable of sustaining a long-term relationship. His partner does not feel suffocated by his neediness. She does not feel responsible for his happiness. She feels free to be herself, and that freedom is what keeps her coming back. The man who does not chase is not just a better partner. He is also a happier person. He is not constantly anxious about whether he is good enough. He is not constantly seeking external validation. He is not constantly trying to control outcomes that are beyond his control. He is simply living his life, doing his best, and trusting that the right people will find their way to him. This is not a passive approach. It is an active choice to focus on what he can control and let go of what he cannot. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus wrote that we should not seek to have events happen as we wish, but to wish them to happen as they do happen. When a man embraces this philosophy, he stops fighting against reality. He stops trying to force connections that are not meant to be. He stops chasing people who do not want to be caught. And in doing so, he opens himself up to the connections that are truly meant for him. There is a final point that needs to be made. The man who does not chase is not cold. He is not uninterested. He is not incapable of love. He simply loves differently. He loves without clinging. He loves without losing. He loves without losing himself. This is the kind of love that is sustainable. It is the kind of love that allows both people to grow. It is the kind of love that does not demand, but invites. The poet Khalil Gibran, in his book The Prophet, wrote that love is not about possessing or being possessed. It is about standing together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart. The man who does not chase understands this. He knows that true intimacy requires space. It requires autonomy. It requires trust. And he is willing to give those things because he is secure enough in himself to do so. In the end, the decision to stop chasing is not about women. It is about becoming a better man. It is about building a life that is so full, so meaningful, and so grounded that you do not need anyone to complete it. It is about developing the kind of self-worth that cannot be shaken by rejection or silence. It is about learning to be comfortable in your own company and trusting that the right person will eventually find their way to you. This is not an easy path. It requires patience, self-reflection, and a willingness to face your own fears. But it is the only path that leads to genuine connection. Because the strongest relationships are not built on one person constantly proving their worth while the other decides whether they are enough. They are built on mutual respect, shared effort, and genuine interest from both sides. And when you stop chasing, you create the space for that kind of relationship to find you.